All right, we are live. Hey guys, what's going on? It's your boy Donnell here at Groundsounds. Sorry, my camera's shaking a little bit. Yeah, we're gonna be going live here very shortly with Marcus Taylor, aka Marvxlous MC. He's gonna tell us a little bit about his story as an artist. What's going on, guys? Welcome into Ohio Drip Join, Mr. Marvxlous. Let's go ahead and add you on here, Mister. Get you on to this interview. And if you want to send that request in, this is always the hardest part, getting people to get in the live stream. Here we go, my man. Right. So yeah, we're gonna be like I said, talking to Marcus and his how he's doing as an artist, and yeah. Hey, there he is. What's going on, man? How you feeling? How you feeling?
Not bad in yourself. Can you hear me okay?
Good. Yeah, I can hear you perfectly. Can you hear me?
Yes.
All right, all right. So we just want to dive into it, man. Welcome to Ground Sounds. Just a little history for some of the people who are watching. Marv, you did submit some of your music to our website. Could you just tell us a little bit about what you did and how you got us to pretty much communicate with you?
Well, I got your contact info. I seen what you did. I looked through some of your interviews. Then I looked at your locations, and I noticed you had multiple locations, which I really liked. And then I hit the contact and got the email and sent in the information. I'll try to tailor it to what it is that you do.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. That's awesome. Well, welcome, man. I'm really glad to have you on, and I really want to just dive into your story of how you became an artist and what got you into the music industry.
I mean, what probably, you know, pre-part of my book, I was an artist, you know, so I think I got that genetically. Coming up, listening to artists, you know, it was different than now because like the artists seem so much older. Like when I think about Cool J and the KRS-One, I thought that they were like 10 years older, but they're not really that much older, you know. And their skill set wasn't so that you could say I can easily do that. Like I'm gonna do that. But as I got older and more developed as an MC, I started thinking, yeah, maybe I can do it myself, you know.
Wow. Well, that's really encouraging, man, because I'm sure there's a lot of artists out there who want to do music or want to play an instrument, but they feel kind of hindered. Was there any challenges, you know, as you were growing up, getting into music that, you know, may have held you back? Or
location was one. I'm from Utica, New York, which is about 4.5 hours from New York City. So, you know, whenever you're dealing with entertainment, it's either a matter of Los Angeles or New York at that time. Now, with the internet, you know, location doesn't matter. But at that time, you had to be in one of the major hubs in order to get noticed. So it seemed like we were miles and miles away, you know.
Wow. So what do you what is something that you took away from the location that you moved? And you know, at one point I thought I heard that you've been to New Orleans or something like that.
No, I've never been to New Orleans. I've been Florida and upside. I mean, the eastern side, the eastern coast. You know, seaboard, and out west in Hawaii and Midwest, Wisconsin, Chicago, and I've lived in Newark, New Jersey. Besides New York City, I've lived in Poughkeepsie, New York, Rochester, New York. So it's upstate New York. Well, I want to get away from saying upstate New York because that encompasses a whole lot of things, and all these cities have their different personalities. And so I'm from Utica, New York. I lived in other places that are not New York City. And New York is the only time I think you get a location based on its relevance to where New York City is. So we say upstate New York because New York is downstate, you know. But in California, you don't say upstate Los Angeles or upstate, you know, upstate California. You know.
Oh man, but yeah, that's great, man. I'm just like I said, I'm just very encouraged that, you know, you were able to come on and, you know, get to talk to us about your career and stuff. I listened to Life is Beautiful. We did a feature on there.
Yeah, I've seen it. Thank you.
Could you just tell us a little bit about the process of making that song and what it was like working with Mrs. J, She Should Be, and Harris, Mr. Harris?
Yeah, so Bruce and I had worked together with a band that MCs that I had known. MC Nickel Kills Mike, Nickel and Dime Ops. Bruce was a part of that operation, and so Nickel and I used to go back and forth. I would perform with him at Smoke. I had a show downtown in New York at the Bowery Poetry Club called Fire Your Boss. He would come down and perform there, and so in meeting Nickel, it helped me to expand my knowledge of jazz because I was around a lot of jazz musicians at that time, and jazz is a relatively new art form to me because I had heard about it, but until I came to New York, I didn't really know about it. So Bruce had worked with Nickel, and so we were trade musicians. So I would get Frank Lacey, and he worked with the Likey, and so the hip hop world and the jazz world are very similar. There's a lot of intermixing, especially in New York City. And Miss J and She Should Be happen to be my sister and my niece. So I've worked with them, throughout the years on a song called MBS that was produced by a kid named Kevin Fountain out of Chicago. And so, but the actual process came because I seen that clip of John Mayer playing this guitar loop, and it was just like his facial expression, his strumming, just like it kind of captivated me, and it kind of reminded me the really influence of the song kind of reminded me of Peter Gabriel's Sledgehammer.
Yeah.
You remember that song, like his facial expressions, and I was just like, this is kind of like Sledgehammer. So it made me revisit Peter Gabriel a little bit, and that helped me in thinking of some things. Then I thought about it for over a year, just thinking about how to do it, because again, this was during the pandemic, so I wasn't able to run to the studio, and I don't have a studio set up at home per se. But then I found Band Lab and started working with that, so it was pretty cool. And my son helped me out with doing that as well.
Okay, wow, that sounds like there was a lot that went into making that song. Was there any inspiration, or it was just something like a song that just came up on you, or how was like the inspiration for the song? Was it that?
That's a great question. So I seen a clip of a movie called Life is Beautiful, and it's one of those movies that I had never seen, and still to this day I haven't seen this in its entirety. And this happened probably before I seen the John Mayer clip. And the more and more I seen of the clip of this movie, the more and more I learned about it. It dealt with World War II and the Holocaust, and particularly in the invasion of Italy, and how this father protected his son, and even the residents of the city, from what I gather, by having to look at the positive aspects of it. But in his case, he wasn't allowing them to see the reality, but in this case, it was just giving an alternate side of the reality, to look on the bright side.
Wow.
That life is beautiful.
Wow, that's inspiration for me, man. That's pretty crazy. What was that movie? What was that movie called?
It's called Life is Beautiful.
Life is Beautiful.
Yeah, wow. Life is Beautiful. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely check that out. They should have added. They could put your song "Life is Beautiful" as a song over in the movies. With
I don't know if that would have worked, because the movie is very powerful. In fact, I do want to see it, because I seen clips of it, and the clips of it are they're funny, but they're also sad, and that's how the comedy tragedy musical verse came out. Life is funny sometimes, and it's sad sometimes. So,
wow. And I mean, just thinking about that, thinking about life and how people go about their living situations. Is there any like advice or motivation that you would give to new artists that are trying to make it in the industry?
Well, for me, spirituality is the most important thing. Depending on what not depending on for me, but for me. I don't know what each individual artist would subscribe to, but reading the scriptures has really grounded me. And my idea of what being an artist about has changed, because before you think it's sex, drugs, and rock and roll, but it doesn't have to be like that. And it's not that. So, and also, as long as I've been doing it, I still do it, even when there's no monetary value in doing it. In fact, I probably spent more money recently doing music than I have brought in. Like I said, more recently. Before it was a little different, but so it's the desire to express yourself that is really, you know, driving force for so many, and it's so nice to see people who are and how the internet has opened up a wide variety of artists. So you know, my advice is just to not to define yourself by what the powers that be say that an artist is, you know.
How important do you think that is when it comes to, like you were saying, that the powers that be, and sometimes, you know, situations happen where it's a hindrance for some artists. How do you think people can maneuver through the industry without having to go through extreme situations, like you were saying? People get this money or they get these type of fame and they just kind of go wild. Is there like a plan that you would give to someone, or something that you would tell them, like, you know, I would do this way, and kind of keep your life structured?
To be honest with you, I think there's really no one that can give you a definitive answer about how you could do it. Um, Personally, something that Dave Chappelle said that his father told him, that I heard in a clip, about you have to know what your price is going in. You know, you have to set the parameters right now, what you will or won't do. But in this time and age, it's a few parameters that people will do, you know, because it's, the more sensational, the more shocking, the more dramatic, that's the more attention. So it's all about holding and getting attention, and so that kind of drives the drama of it, you know. And then I watched a clip that the producer Beats put on her page the other night about Walter Payton and how he said how he chose the university. I think it was Florida State he went to because his mother told him that if they look at you as a product, then once you stop producing, they're gonna disregard you. You know, so you're an artist. An artist is a person. You know. So, and it's not a product. You know, we have something that can be monetized, but it's not. You know, we're artists. You know.
Wow. Yeah, that really blew me away, because it's made me think about just, I'm an artist, but I'm more of a private artist. At the same time, I think that anytime that you have something that is yours, um, people shouldn't feel like they have to automatically give it up to, trade it in for something. You know what I mean? Like, it should be something that's within their constructs of their life, and being able to, express themselves. And that's
Yes.
down to. Is there any new, like, songs that you're coming out with soon, or any albums that you're thinking about dropping this year? Or how's your
Yeah, I'm working on a project right now. I'm waiting. Well, this project is going to be part of a project that's called "It's All Coming Back to Me Now." Right now, I'm working with a kid named El Press Beats from Holland, out in the Netherlands, and we have a song coming out. We have an actual couple of songs coming out. In fact, it's probably going to be a collaborative EP.
okay?
But the next song I got coming out is called "The Rapper Prepares."
Rapper
Yeah,
prepares.
it's a play on Stanislav book about actors. So acting and rapping, there's a lot of parallels in that. So it's called "The Rapper Prepares," and I think it's very pertinent to the time that we are in now, especially when things are opening back up and things are looking to open up. So the song kind of deals with what is the prospect for artists as things are opening up, not just a rapper, but just as an artist, you know.
Mm. And how important let's talk a little bit about the pandemic. As you brought up, things are starting to open up again. What was life for you like when things were shutting down last year? Because I'm sure, I was in Philadelphia last year. I moved here to Columbus about a year ago, and I can just remember, living in Montgomery County, everybody was freaking out because it was Philadelphia, New York, and DC. Baltimore, excuse me, were really a big area for the pandemic, and the coronavirus was spreading very rapidly. Just tell us a little bit how you were able to deal with it, and now that you're coming out of it, what are you looking forward towards?
Well, I'm thankful because in reality it was more gradual than it could have been. We heard rumblings of it from out east, and then in a matter of weeks, everything had changed. For me, it was difficult, probably in ways that I don't even understand fully yet.
Hmm.
But I read the Bible every day, at least a portion of it, and the scriptures talk about these kind of things and what to expect, and that's really helped me to stay grounded and keep a positive attitude. Also, to look more into yourself is very introspective time, and to see what really is important. It really got when you go to the store, you see the cupboard, the shelves bare.
Hmm.
Now in life you it's like you shop and you see you put away the junk food. The junk food is not the priority now. Just the basic necessities are what's important. So it goes back to it really helped me focus on what's really important.
Wow. That's yeah, I think that's I feel like that's for a lot of people. For me, I was just graduated, get my associate's degree, and when the pandemic hit, I was just like I don't know what to do, and a lot of people were telling me the similar things to what you're saying. It's time to really look inside yourself and focus on what you're trying to do because there's a lot of distractions that I had, and I wanted to try to put my hands in different areas and try to get things done, but sometimes God tells you to ground yourself and focus on one thing at a time. And man, I was but now that we're coming out to the pandemic, like you said, you're working with someone from the Netherlands, right?
Yeah, we worked before, and that's why I kind of like. And but when I think about a rapper prepares, you think about like Martin Scorsese and a lot of directors. They have the same team of people that they work with, and so I've been able to build a team of people that I consistently work with. And it's interesting to be able to branch out, but it's nice to have a go-to team.
Mm-hmm.
You can kind of build your own team, which is very important, I would say, to an artist being creative. We can't do everything. We can't be everywhere. Like this is my first time on live. So I didn't know what the ins and outs of it were, but it's important in a lot of aspects, but you can't be everywhere.
Yeah, true.
And I think a lot of times social media gives us a false sense of popularity because you might get liked on a post that you put on Facebook, and the same post gets a lot of likes on Instagram. But when you look at the people, it's the same people. You
Yeah,
know,
that's a good point.
it's like you're not really being able to get outside of a certain kind of a niche unless you can really choose. Where you are. So, for me, it's been important to see what's working, to really evaluate what's working. Like how much does it take to make $10 on Spotify streams?
Mm.
And when you take that number and you add it and you compare it to how much somebody might be charging $10 for a service, it helps you to be able to kind of weigh what the value is. If your service is X amount of dollars and then it costs it takes X amount of spins to get on Spotify, then how much does it take to generate those kind of spins?
Right, right.
So in ways we've all become kind of mathematicians, which has
No,
never really been my strong suit.
yeah, no, I understand. I think that's very important when it comes to sharing your history. When a person gets to a certain level, you gotta start. You may not necessarily have to learn it, but the people, like you say, around you, your team, someone's going to have to be knowing the analytics. Someone's going to
Yeah,
be
absolutely.
numbers and getting the things that is right for you because like you said, when you start working with people from different countries and your streams start getting a certain amount of numbers, you're gonna have to kind of like you said, go to another level, turn up. you
Yeah,
know.
yeah. Another thing I want to mention is
Mm-hmm.
uh, I was walking in Union Square a few months ago, and I seen this kid that I had seen, Obar. He's an artist, photographer, amazing photographer. Too, I don't know much about him. He's a mysterious character, but we have a pretty good rapport when we see each other in passing. And he said that he was just listening to one of my songs that I put out some time ago, and it felt nice to know that people were listening to the song because I just it's New York, you're walking through, and I just ran into him.
Yeah.
So if Spotify say you only got X amount of users or this Deezer or all these other things, that's not a true representative of how many people you may be affecting. That's just that's just on their particular algorithm and how they look at things. because this guy was excited to see me, and I was happy to see him, and I was like, wow, that was nice that he listened. But there was really I didn't get an email that he had listened, you know,
Mm,
or
yeah.
or notification that he had listened or liked my thing. So these electrical impulses that stimulate the mind that we like to have, it's nice to get away from those and just know that even if you're doing something nice for one person, it's rewarding,
And that effect, if we can go into that a little bit.
You're coming in and out.
Oh, okay.
I'm
Sorry about
sorry.
that. Is this better?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. I was saying, like, explain to us, like, as an artist, how important it is when you, like you say, you hear people say, they talk to you about your music or they sound excited about it, but you didn't really get a notification. How important do you think not seeing or not knowing an information, but then getting a result from it? How important do you think that is as an artist? Does that encourage you? Does that motivating? Could you
Yeah,
walk us?
very, very much so. I used to uh, push my music outside of Fat Beats. I ran into a creature who I had met years before, and I seen him at the I think the Bowery Ballroom, and he seen me give my music away. I think I gave it to Gene Gray or somebody, and he said to me that you shouldn't do that. You shouldn't give your music away, not to her particularly, but you shouldn't give your music away. You could get money for it. And I was like, oh, no, it's like a lot of artists. I'll just promote it. But after that, I embarked on a mission with him, and it was instantly gratifying to see people take your record and give you money for it. And
Mm,
then to actually start seeing that start to impact, seeing articles. I met a kid from Brazil, and the next time I seen an article in Brazil about my music, and it was just like a wonderful connection. But you don't always have that advantage, and right now you really don't have that advantage. So if you're looking at numbers, 100 will never, 100 won't be as good as 1,000. 1,000 won't be good as 10,000. 10,000, if you get 10,000, you won't be as happy as 50,000 and 50,000. So you'll always be, like the scripture says, chasing after the wind. You'll be chasing after something that once you look at it, it's actually gone. So you have to be able to find something, because there's always going to be somebody doing better numbers than you. And in this digital age, numbers can lie. That's the numbers can't lie. They can be manipulated. They can be suppressed. They can be enhanced. So I remember that the work that I put in, going hand to hand, as we call it, that didn't just get erased. That when the new rage came through, it didn't just stop all the things that I did. Even though it doesn't show up necessarily, it still registers with people.
wow. And that's the thing that, like, a lot of people may get discouraged on, or, some people may feel frustrated because, like you said, there's algorithms, different kind of algorithms for different kinds of analytics. I'm not really into analytics, but I know it's important. It's a lot of math. I'm not
Yeah.
really good at that.
Yeah, in business they call it analytics. In society they call them stereotypes, which is interesting.
Okay, got it.
If you say that this kind of person from this kind of thing always does this kind of thing in social, that's a stereotype. But in business, it's analytic, it's metrics, it's machine learning. So it's funny. But I'm sorry, but what were you saying?
No, I was just like, I'm just, I don't know. My mind is always blown when it comes to, speaking about analytics and machine learning. Never, eventually I feel like the machines are going to take over the industry, and they're going to be the ones signing the contracts.
Yeah.
I'm thinking, but no, man, I just think it's really cool to just hear your story, and it is very, very motivational. Because I know on your website you're talking about you've been at this since mid '80s and stuff, and being able to connect with people from really all over the world.
Yeah.
That's what Ground Sounds is really about. We want to connect with independent artists, and we want to be able to promote what they're doing. Whether that's music, whether that's art, or whether that's just being out in the community with culture. Is there any like community projects that you like to work on, or is it you want to try to do to reach out to the community?
When you say community project, what do you mean?
Like doing like
You're cutting out again. Sorry about that.
Oh, it's okay. Like I was saying, like doing like festivals or like people.
Uh,
So yeah,
yeah, well, I just was looking at a festival lineup now. Yeah, I'm gonna hold off on those kind of things for
yeah,
now. You
okay.
know, even like applying or putting my own thing. And that's why I started Fire Your Boss, because I was looking at your information, looking at the founder and the different team members of Ground Sound, and that starts with an idea, you know.
It did.
So a lot of times, you know, it means a lot for more people. It means a lot for people to be chosen by
Mm,
somebody. Like it means a lot to be able to go to this festival or that festival. But I seen how it means a lot even more when you build it as yourself. It's not everybody going to be able to build a South by Southwest or whatever. But whatever you do build, people will come. You know, like the movie says, just like people are coming here, and people will continue to come as you know when it's built. You know,
wow.
but I do
Yeah,
volunteer work too, and so I get a lot of meaningful contact with that. You know.
that's great, man. Well, hey, we're gonna change it a little bit up on the segment. We have this. I have a few questions for you. This we do this every time with all our guests who come on our live stream. We just have random questions for you. Some of them are pretty funny, some of them are just just random stuff, and and just try to answer it without even thinking about it. Just it's gonna be this or that. Are you ready?
Okay, but I won't. I don't know about not thinking about it though. But go
Okay,
ahead.
try to do your best. Your first response. First response. All right. First question is your favorite artist.
Pearl Jam, Eddie Vedder.
Hey. Okay, all right, all right. Favorite sports team.
It used to be the New York Knicks. I got a funny story. Met Charles Oakley at Sylvia's in Harlem.
Oh wow.
That cured me of my professional sports uh, thing. Not saying he was a bad person. He was just busy, and he let me know he was busy. So I said maybe I should be busy too.
Oh man. All right. All right. Next question is left-handed or right-handed?
Right hand.
Right hand. Favorite season?
I like fall.
Fall? Perfect.
Yeah,
Do you like to drive?
I haven't drove, but I did like driving it.
Nice.
Driving.
Apple or Android?
I'm an Android person.
Android. All right. Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that. Creamy or crunchy peanut butter?
Creamy.
Creamy. Oh yeah. Pepsi or Coke?
If I had to go, I mean neither.
Oh man. Best day of the week.
Every day.
Every day.
Every
Oh,
day is a good day. Life is beautiful.
nah, hey, there it is. Hey, go check out "Life Is Beautiful" on YouTube. Matter of fact, I'm going to put that in the comment section. "Life is Beautiful." Yeah, so people can go check that out because I loved it. I loved how I just loved the music in general. It was very peaceful. The video was very calm, and man, and then you have the trumpet on top of that. That's what really got me. You know, I'm an instrument kind of guy. I play guitar, so anytime I hear an instrument that usually isn't played in the it always catches my ear.
Nice. Yeah, so Bruce Harris really added a lot, like you mentioned. And of course John Mayer, you know, his guitar playing. I like it's hard to imagine with that kind of dexterity of him playing unless you actually seeing it like that. But the video, I'm glad you mentioned that. So Michael Ian Farrell is a filmmaker out of British Columbia, and he worked on a picture of Lion, Tigers, Bears that I contributed some music to, and he had an editor, Kevin Goulet, out of British Columbia as well. And so reconnecting with those guys really helped bring this apart, the visual part of it, which is interesting because one another thing is there's an artist I see playing out in the street, Jonelle Music,
Hmm.
beautiful player, and it makes me remind me of when I was out in the street a lot of times. But I had to look through my old emails, and I seen a lot of opportunities that I missed. looking through old emails, because you're looking through the emails and you're thinking about how the opportunity is going to come day to day. You're out there grinding day to day, and opportunity comes, and it might come in a form that you don't recognize it because you have a preconceived notion of who you want to help catapult you. It might be you might want to meet a particular kind of artist or a particular person, but it might not be an artist. It could be a person that sells ice cream, or it could be another person from some walk of life. So when I was looking through my old emails, I seen that I remind me, oh, I work with Michael, so let me go see Michael, see him on the internet and see if I can reconnect, and that really helped the visual process. And the next one is coming too, Rapper Prepares, which I'm really looking forward to, and it's a different kind of texture of a song, but I hope people will like it.
Yeah, it sounds like it. Sounds like we just got a few more questions, probably about 2 more. On an airplane, would you rather have an aisle seat or a window seat?
Window seat.
Window? Perfect.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't do the aisles, especially when people are walking by, they're bumping your shoulder. I'm trying to sleep. And the last one is your favorite ice cream.
Pistachio.
Pistachio? Ooh, I haven't had pistachio. Actually sounds good. John, I think we should get some pistachio ice cream.
Not a pistachio. He uses a Casio. Oh. That's Chuck Rock.
Okay. Yeah, my favorite ice cream, and pistachio is actually pretty good. I haven't had pistachio in a long time, but mine's definitely chocolate, man. But yeah, are there any like random questions that you want to add to our random question list?
Yes. Thank you. And very nice question. I really appreciate that.
Yeah, man.
We know how people say Biggie or Tupac.
Mm-hmm.
Ask them, who do they think they would have gotten along better with?
Do you have a pen? I don't have a pen.
Who actually make it? Who do they think they would have been better friends? That doesn't mean that they can't be friends with both of them.
I dropped the pen.
That doesn't mean that they could not have been friends with both of them. Right. But it's an interesting thought that I had. It's like when I think about Biggie and Tupac, I think about their personalities. I'm like, who do I think I would be better friends with, and why? Who I think I would have been better friends with, and why?
Who would you be better friends with, and why? Biggie or Tupac?
Yeah, who would you have been better friends with, and why? You think? But let me ask you that question: who would you have been better friends with? You think?
Ooh, that's a good question. I think honestly, I'll probably be better friends with Biggie. I don't know. I feel like Biggie was probably in the streets as well, but I don't think he was as involved. I don't know. It's kind of hard to answer that. I would say Biggie, but I think it would be kind of a tie because they were both in a liberation type atmosphere, so they had to kind of be in the streets. Because I'm not much of a street person, but I have a lot of friends who are. I feel like Biggie would be, because he was just more, to me, like laid back. You know, he didn't seem like he was, you know, because he had a kid. He, you know, was about to build a family and stuff. So he kind of was starting to, you know, lean back a little bit. But I think I would have probably been good friends with Biggie. What about you? Who would you say you would have been better friends with?
I still think about that same question, but I had a similar thought as you about being laid back. But there's a picture of Tupac hugging with his arm around one of the outlaws, and that's one of my favorite pictures because he has his arm around him, and the young man is smiling in a way that you really don't see in the camaraderie. You see the camaraderie, but you really never get that part highlighted. But when you think about Biggie's sense of humor and things like that, it's just an interesting question.
Yeah, that was great. That's a great question. Yeah, add that. Any other before we disperse for today's interview? Is there any last comments you want to make, or anything that you?
I would say try to read a portion of the scriptures every day.
Read a portion of the scriptures.
Yeah.
For the people who are watching, what's your favorite scripture?
I mean, they're all my favorite. The scripture that talks about how God loved the world so much that he sent his only begotten son, John 3:16, those exercising faith, that like kind of encapsulates all of the gospel. That's the gospel in mind, is what they say, because it really dwells on love. Because a lot of people forget that that God is love, because they attribute everything that happens in this world to God, when in reality, this is not a world that's governed by God. You know, this is a world that's governed by the God of this system of things, as Scripture calls. So that's a scripture that I really think about, and also the definition of faith, because faith is the assured expectations of things hoped for, and these are things that you can see, and we have faith all the time that the sun's going to come up, that the sun is going to set, and that's because we have had an experience with those things.
Right.
So we can become powerful by faith, which is what I'm actually studying right now. We have a convention, Powerful by Faith. So yeah, that's what I like to leave off with.
Hey, that's great. That's great. Good little 2-minute sermon. That was have my Bible in my car. Go ahead.
Yeah, that's the other thing. There's really no separation. Like a sermon gives the idea where I'm on a pulpit, but we're all students, you know.
Oh, you're right.
You know, we all study. You know, we need to study.
Yeah. But before we head out, I just got my homie Jesse wants to say some few things before we head out.
What's up, man?
Hey Jesse, how are you?
Hey, what's up? How you doing, Marvxlous?
Not bad, yourself.
Hey, not too bad. Hey, I was just sitting there listening to the sermon, man. You get me going,
Yeah.
man. Hey. Love it. No, but I just wanted to say hello. I just wanted to hop in and say thank you for coming on. I was talking to you back and forth, so I just wanted to give you a face to the words, man.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it. I appreciate you reaching out. What is your favorite band, Jesse?
My favorite band? All right, so I'm a classic rock guy. So I got to say AC/DC. It's my band. I've listened to them since I was little.
AC/DC.
That's my band, man. That's my
interesting.
band.
They have an interesting history, too.
They do, and that's part of what I love about AC/DC is they're one of the few bands that can actually got a new singer and continue to strive high level that they were with Bon Scott, and then when they continued with Brian Johnson. I mean, it's kind of funny for me because you've got Scott on Highway, personally best, and right back with Brian Johnson's Back in Black. What's so wow. It's pretty cool little fact to know about AC/DC.
Yeah, I was just watching a piece on them not long ago, and of course I grew up in the '80s. They did something with PE at one time, right? Public Enemy, you remember?
Yeah, dude, that's I love that. I love that little segment. Yeah, crazy. It's awesome. Yeah, I even could go all the way back to before Bon Scott. There was a singer before Bon Scott, and I'm blanking on the song NT. It was oh my gosh. Oh, there's two songs that Bon Scott redid that were by the original AC/DC singer who was with Angus Young, Malcolm Young, him, Phil Rudd is their drummer, and I want to say he was only with them for about like a few months. Like it was either a couple months or a year, and then got in Bon Scott, and obviously it took off from right there.
Yeah. Well, thank you. Nice meeting you, and thanks for having me.
I can talk about that.
Hey, and can I send you the new stuff that I'm when it comes?
Hey, send it up. Well, now, come on, man, let us know.
Yeah.
Okay, and do you put these interviews in print as well?
So we put them in an article on our site at groundsounds.com. I can do a DM of the link when it's done. Please do. I'd like to publish that tomorrow. So I'm hoping tomorrow it'll be out, ready to go. So it'll be a couple paragraphs about you, the "Life Is Beautiful" song that we featured, and then this interview, and that'll be it, man. All right, thank you. Have a good one, fellas. You too. Yeah. Take care. Thank you, team at the Ground Sounds. One more thing before we head out. I just need you to say these last words. Just let the people know that they're listening to Ground Sounds, who you are. Say your name, and then say that you're watching Ground Sounds, and then we could end it from there. This is Marvxlous, and you're listening and watching to Ground Sounds. Perfect, my man. Appreciate you, man. Thank you so much. Just look out for that DM from homie Jesse, and we look forward to connecting back with you, man. How things are. Thank you too. And Donnell's your name, right? Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you, Donnell. I appreciate it.
No
And
problem.
I appreciate your enthusiasm, and I like the way you pronounce Marvxlous, because that just happened to me recently on Wix, and I never thought about that. That's an interesting aspect, so I really appreciate that. It's marvelous, but Marvxlous, I like that too. It has
I want sometimes we see people's names, it might be spelled differently.
Yeah, yeah, that's just yeah. So I appreciate that. I didn't mind that at all, because I thought it was an interesting take on it.
Oh yeah, man. Well, yeah, man. Enjoy the rest of the day, man. Yeah, like I said.
You as well, and beyond.
All right, man.
All right, take care. Thank you for having me.